Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the first ever South American Contenders English cast for Overwatch Contenders, and we're here in Season 2, Day 2. I'm so happy to be here, along with my two analysts here. I am Mushu Beef. I'll be hosting for the first series today, and I'm joined by Lemon Kiwi and Scribe. Lemon, how's it going?
It's going great. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, as the song
It's
says.
early.
And it's early, not as early as our Chinese squad, as in the China Contenders squad that was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I'm so excited for this stream.
So early that it might even be considered late the previous day. But if you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check out our VODs. We just ended that stream an hour ago. So some fresh Overwatch content coming to you. But speaking of fresh, we got Scribe also. How's it going, man?
It's going great, dude. It's a beautiful day outside. Because I live in the East Coast, it's not 9 a.m. Unfortunately, it's noon, so I can't really say it's too early. I had to be awake at this hour anyway. But besides that, it's a great day and excited
to admit that.
Excited to do some Overwatch.
And I hope I know it's lunchtime right now. I hope you got your lunch in because we got some great matches today. Of course, we have Esports Gaming versus 2Kill Gaming. And then followed by that will be Hephaestus Esports versus Predator Esports. And then finally, last but not least, Pain Gaming versus Black Dragons. But before we get to those rest of those games, I mean, let's just talk about what Contenders is in South America. We're the first English broadcast for it, and we're super happy to be bringing everyone this region's meta and their players and just highlighting their stories. We're going to be seeing Team Brazil in the Overwatch World Cup later this year. But in terms of for these players today, and we were doing some VOD review and looking at just how they generally play. So Scribe, I don't know if you had any kind of takeaways. We did that long VOD session. South America meta, do you have any kind of high-level takeaways that people should know going into these matches?
Yeah, it's a lot of honestly, a lot of team fights are based on preparation. Teams will like try to make small movements to get set and start their engagement and then execute finally. However, because of that, fights actually take a long time because basically they'll brawl through a lot of like losing fights potentially, even if they should be resetting. They're more concerned about overpowering their opponents, using their speed to really catch them off guard and propelling their lead from there.
Yeah, that's definitely what we saw, and I'm really excited to see a lot of Lucio on attack too. Super excited to see that. But anyways, so we're just learning as well for this first match between Esports Gaming and 2Kill. It looks like actually Esports Gaming was not able to field the full roster. So here's official word in regards to that. That according to official tournament rules of the Contenders program, all possible opportunities were given to make this match happen at the scheduled date. And so it's super unfortunate, and we apologize for all the fans of these teams, and we're looking forward to that matchup. But hopefully, we still have 2 matches for the rest of the day today, so hopefully we can get those moved up and started in time for everyone at home and don't have to delay too much about that. So that being said, looks like we're shifting gears a little bit here to match 2. So what that means for us then is we're moving down. That'll be Hephaestus Esports versus Predator Esports. So I know we've already done our homework, so not a huge deal for these folks. Both of these squads actually coming up from Contenders Trial Season 2. Hephaestus having come up through Open Division, they've been riding and climbing up that path to pro. But then Predators, they were relegated, but then still fought their way back. So it seems like both these teams still have a lot to prove. So I guess going into in terms of Hephaestus though, so Scribe, let's start with you. What do we need to know about this team?
Well, obviously, one of the big things is they came in 3rd place in the Open Division, but they also then got 3rd place in Trials. This is the old North Lions roster that was signed by Hephaestus Gaming. They have a new tank, Dresker, who's new to the lineup. Obviously, a new tanks can bring a lot of direction to a team, whether that's helping them dive faster or push back from deficits. It's been very important to get that new mentality, and obviously, honestly, it looks like it should be a very workable thing. I'm very excited to see how he plays. They play very strong on Assault, less strong on Hybrid, and this has to do with a lot of the Brazilian region's issues in terms of setting up. Assault obviously is basically just 2 setup dives, basically very clean initiations. Hybrid is a moving target, and it's very hard to recover that runway when you need it. Another person to take a look at is Svenko and HM, both DPS players. Svenko typically more of the main Tracer player, but HM, though, he's going to be flexing onto what we need.
Gotcha. And if we're looking for one player, who are we pointing out here?
Honestly, I would say that Drusker is probably the person I want him to look out to. New tanks are going to be under a lot of pressure, and how he sustains himself under the pressure, the way he maintains himself, confidence when diving, being able to be aware that you're going to have to be the brunt of the force when pushing back from the dive. A lot of those aspects are really important for us.
It's so interesting. You talk about the swaps, the player roster swaps. A lot of player roster swaps are going to see. Actually, I think even later on today is going to be kind of a little bit of a grudge match. Some players playing their old team, but not before we talk about Predator Esports, Lemon, Kiwi. Looking at this team, what do we got? What does the audience need to know about them?
Well, they don't have a cool Greek name to start with. Hephaestus, it kind of sounded like something nasty, but it's actually like what the Greek god of forgery and son of Zeus. So that's a really cool name. And Predators, we'll stay chilling over here. 4th in trials. So both these teams did compete in trials, like you said. But what's different is that these guys didn't come from open division. They were relegated from last season. So bottoming out, I think 0-5. But they always do well in open division in that sort of mid-tier type of talent. But to go over the roster, the one I'm going to look at is Sam. And he'll be the main tracer player. He kind of flexes a whole bunch of different stuff. What's interesting is that this DPS player, he'll go to Zarya. He'll be the main Zarya player to watch out for. And usually you'll have your off-tank Apollo do that, but he only really sticks to Diva. So when the team want to run triple tank with that Zarya, you got to watch out for Sam to bring that out.
It's so interesting. You guys are picking out the chaser players here. So we're going to see how they face off, or at least the ones who can flex on the Zarya as well. But we will be heading to the game very shortly, introducing you to the casters. But in terms of this, of course, we'll have to see then as we send it on to. We gotta throw in the reference. I want to hear about some lightning bolts and some just Greek god action, because Hephaestus, so everyone knows, he was he made the lightning bolts for Zeus. So we'll see. Are they going to strike down Predator Esports in this matchup? We'll have to see, and we're going to throw it over to our casters. It's going to be Ham and Boopasaurus. Folks, take it away.
Hello, I am Boopasaurus here with the venerable Ham Tornado. We are so stoked to be bringing this game of Hephaestus Esports against Predators. And this is going to be the first English class brought to you by BGG for South America. So we are also so excited to be bringing that to you. How are you feeling, Ham?
Dude, I am pumped. Like Lemon said, it is early in the morning, but we have the caffeine coursing through our veins, ready to accept all of this hot South American Overwatch action. And it looks like our first map will be Lijiang Tower.
So Control is a great map to really see how these two teams are going to really face each other. And, Scribe mentioned long fights, and that's something that we did see in a lot of our reviews going into our long drawn out skirmishy fights. But that's not something we might see today. So on Lijiang Tower, based off of what we've seen and what we know about these teams, what kinds of things are we going to expect, Ham?
Well, probably a lot of actually flexibility. So the big DPS players that the desk were mentioning before, there's deep hero pools between all of the players on these teams. So depending on what rounds, what maps, subsets we're going to be going to with Lijiang, going to be expecting, kind of different looks from both of these teams, potentially some Zarya coming out from Sam on the side of Predators. So always really exciting. And like you mentioned, Boop, Control is really kind of the great equalizer of all map types, very brawly. There's a lot of individual carry potential oftentimes. So be curious to see how these teams, approach this.
Yeah, and Lijiang is just, there's so many different things that you can see based on the round that you're in. Control Center is going to be much different than the other two rounds. So other things that we might see here today are definitely some Pharaohs flexing. Yeah. We're definitely going to see some Zarya, hopefully. The 4 tanks seem to be pretty popular as well in Control Center for these teams. And so we're going to reiterate again what kind of stakes are here. So Hephaestus and Predators did face each other in Contenders trials in a 5-game set. So they alternated games through that. So it was 1 and then 1 and 1. And so these two teams really know each other, from trials. And let's see if any of that kind of transitions into this, and if we're going to see another 5-game set. Ham. But now we are seeing the teams for the first time. And what do you take with these team comps?
I'm actually on the side of Predators Esports. I'm really excited. This is a Mexican team, but one of the changes that they made from last season was the addition of Rampant Rhino, as we can see, repping that Winston main tank right away. He is actually an American player integrated into this roster, so going to be looking to see what kind of difference he can make to this team, as it looks like we're already seeing a divergence in terms of strategy. Predators going with that full dive Pharah Widowmaker with Sam on that Air Queen, and Hephaestus going with the ground and pound. So it's going to be all about working that objective, winning the ground war. As we see already, Hephaestus has rotated onto the point.
Yeah, Hephaestus is meaty, so we're going to be looking at them to just really kind of take a Sentinels approach to the point thus far. Sam's going to try to butter them up and get them down to a point where the rest of the damage could come in and take them down. But as of right now, Hephaestus has taken up shot in the point and might as well have been building houses, as they are going to take the first couple percentages here, as Predators not really showing anything on the point thus far, not really diving in. And that's exactly what's going to happen, though, as Sam is going to go ahead and unleash some rockets from above really early, Ham.
What a patient game there from the DPS on the side of Predators. Yeah, okay, Hephaestus, you can get that early 15%, but a barrage within the first couple of seconds of the game is an incredible ultimate generation for anybody. Shockwave, the Widowmaker, is also going to have that infrasight, know exactly where Hephaestus will be getting onto the point in this next push. Hephaestus, we saw Drusker running excellent peel in the end, though it wasn't quite enough to cancel out that barrage. Certainly unexpected.
Yeah, and Sam is going to be doing the exact same thing. Those damage boosted rockets are just raining hell from above thus far, as Miklin's going to get the first kill for this first engagement. And right now, everyone's just kind of in the corner, and another rocket barrage is going to go down and do the same thing. And the Predators is going to continue their dominance on the point, but Hephaestus were able to get the flip once again, but they're going to get it right back, Predators.
Oh, this is going to be a question of who's winning the battle, and versus who takes the war here, Boop. The Pharah is such an intelligent pick against HM, who's on that Brigida. There really isn't any kind of long-range damage that Hephaestus has to offer to try and counter Sam in the air. They can only try and hunker down on the point.
With the coalescence coming out, that says Hephaestus is going in, but Shockwave is going to make things a lot more interesting with a great kill on Acacia Dinja. Hex, though, is going to continue trying to do his work on Moira, throwing out the damage orb instead of those heals. You know, that coalescence was just used. You're going to want to use that ultimate a little bit later. He's going to suffer for that, but Yax is going to come up big as well. But Sam, with what feels like the millionth rocket barrage, tries to take it back for Predators, but the backup isn't there, with Predators losing the point to Hephaestus.
Yeah, Hephaestus has flipped the point. Now the sound barrier is out. The Graviton Surge finally comes in to seal the deal from Svanko. And for the first time, Hephaestus going to be buying themselves a little bit of breathing room right there. You saw that they were able to take this. Now they're going to be ticking up close to Predator's point percentage. But the crossfire setup between Sam and Shockwave, who now has swapped off onto the Junker, is just so strong. Yax, Reinhardt's shield just very mono-directional, and you could tell that he wasn't quite sure where exactly that shielding would be best used, either the front line or the back. But now Shockwave with this Junkrat is definitely going to be playing for that entire game, as all of these meaty tanks going to be feeding that Junkrat so much charge.
Ooh, with the Transcendence comes out, that spells Predators down one support ultimate. That's going to be huge for them to try to take this point again, and they're going to get put into a disadvantage because of that. And Drusker is going to be the only one able to deal with the Pharah, and that's exactly what we're going to see, as because of the body, Sam's going to take himself down. So this is definitely in the hands of Hephaestus Esports thus far, and we're seeing that right now with that Unreal kill.
Oh yeah, oh man, all the tanks coming in huge now. Hephaestus finally finding their footing here. You can see Svanko charged up with the power of a million suns, very close to that Graviton Surge, and this is 99% overtime now ticking down, Boop.
Yeah, and with the self-destruct, it looks like it's only just going to be a little bit of a zoning one, as Hephaestus is going to continue the dominance on this point. These four tanks show their strength when they're the ones on the point. A nice little Graviton Surge to put a cherry on the top. But in the end, Hephaestus is going to take the first round 100-56 in a pretty back and forth beginning of the fight. But once Hephaestus kind of put their anchors down, they stayed.
Yeah, you can see now the power of that meatball, those heavy tanks tanks with the Brigida on the point. The longer you sustain with that composition on the objective, the stronger it gets, as we saw actually excellent ultimate discipline from Hephaestus as well, cycling those ultimates. Once they got that early Graviton Surge to turn the tides of the fight, they were able to maintain a very strong hold. Predators, though, trying to counter as best they can with maximum shield break with both the Pharah and the Junkrat. However, now as we move on into Gardens, once again, Predators swapping off onto that Widow Pharah composition. HM on the Hephaestus side also rocking that bird in the air, but really going to have to be watching out or his head may well be made a sieve.
Yep, Lucio's only there for the speed boost out of spawn, switching to the Mercies, Pharah's best friend. So Pharmacy's on both sides. XHM, though, going to get the first kill there. Let's see if he's going to get a boop on the bridge. No, to no avail, but Hephaestus does have the advantage for this first point. 8 seconds left, though, so respawns might be able to come back in time for them to contest, but with Mikla going down, that's not going to be the case, as Hephaestus is going to get the first take.
Yeah, when you do see teams running these dueling pharmacies, the D.Va presence is actually going to be a huge factor in how these fights turn out. The damage mitigation, very strong, eating up all those rockets, as well as the ability to fly up into the Pharah's face. But now we see Rampant Rhino just trying to make a little bit of room, and Shockwave takes down his counterpart in Yax. This is a great start.
Yeah, this is an opening for Predators, but are they going to be able to assert themselves onto the point? And the answer is no, because XHM is throwing down the damage. Sam, with amazing rocket barrages before, are not going to get the kills this time, just the DMEC, but that is all you're going to need, Predators, as you do have the man advantage here, and now we have 3 people left for Hephaestus, so Predators is going to make their way on it to the point and try to flip it here, but with respawns, there might be a chance for Hephaestus to come back, and XHM with the rocket barrage is going to go down instead of able to use it, and Predators looking strong on the point.
Oh yeah, Predators, the slow and steady win the race was the case for this team over here. You saw that the tanks making that space to make the Widowmaker pick finally pay dividends. Shockwave able to get that headshot onto Svenko to finish things up. Hephaestus, though, maintaining control over the on the point throughout all of those staggers, so they will have over 50% to their name now. And coming back in, not poorly armed either. Dresker ready with that D.Va self-destruct, and HM with that barrage. Sam himself still quite far away from that tide-turning ultimate, but Apollo has the defensive ult at the ready, so with the bomb over the top!
Just peeked his head right over, just clipped him. Popping the pimple, that is a Sam, so that is an opening for Hephaestus, so that is a 6v3 right now on it to the point, and Hephaestus is starting to assert their dominance onto the point. XHM holding on to that rocket barrage because doesn't necessarily need it right now, will definitely want it a little bit later, as Hephaestus does take the point, but 37% on board for Predators.
Yeah, not a terrible fight for Predators, but they are still behind here, and not just in terms of point percentage, but also ultimate generation. Hephaestus sitting pretty at 4 to their name, and Predators Esports only with Mikla's self-destruct. Of course, this D.Va can also put up a stellar performance, take out that pharmacy, which would definitely remove some threats here, but Svenko gonna throw out that pulse bomb, not gonna connect with anything.
And the self-destruct gonna not connect with anyone as well, but Yax is gonna get Mikla before the remag, and now this is a back and forth fight here for the point. Unreal gonna get the res on it to D. Let's see if the remix is gonna be able to have her. They're gonna be able to take advantage of the vulnerability, and the answer is no, because Hephaestus is gonna take the kills on the point instead. With Sam and Apollo down, there's not a lot of damage on the point for Predators, and they're gonna go ahead and reset.
Indeed, Boop. Shockwave actually going to be forced to swap onto his own tracer there. The Widowmaker just not finding those sight lines necessary, but no, he's going to be the first one out of the fight immediately as overtime starts once again.
And now we're just going to get stalls. They're not ever going to be able to come to this point at the same time, and that is going to be a huge disadvantage for Predators Esports. Ooh. This is looking pretty bad for them, especially with these kills coming down. So eventually, Hephaestus will win this round if they're able to get the Primal Raging Rampant Rhino out of the point. That's exactly what's going to happen. An overtime wick goes down, and Hephaestus, in a pretty dominating fashion in the second round, takes the control map and goes up 1-0 Hephaestus Esports.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was looking a little bit dicey for Hephaestus earlier on that night market round, but man, they have really warmed up, started playing with their hands, maybe showing a lot of dominance here. Predators, though, I feel handicap themselves slightly with that Widowmaker pick. You saw that Shockwave really needed the space provided by his tank in order to push forward for those sightlines onto the objective, as HM was actually playing a very disciplined Pharah, not really giving Shockwave a lot of those sightlines that you might want, that you're hoping for when you're running a Widow to counter that Pharah. And yeah, it might have been a little bit more well-served for Predators to go with their own Tracer, get some harass on, the pulse bomb potential is always really great to have.
Yeah, and someone that we definitely want to point out is Sam. The desk talked about it, but he was on that Pharah. We said that he was most comfortable on Tracer, and honestly, it was one of the stronger points of Predators Esports.
Yeah, Sam definitely putting up a really good performance, but unfortunately, because of how quiet Shockwave was on that Gardens round, he wasn't really able to carry quite as hard as he may have. We saw once again how much room was provided for him on Night Market, where Predators did really well. Literally just, having a Hephaestus sipping margaritas in that little back mini area, free firing rockets in. Exactly. But, once Hephaestus kind of recognized that threat, really started putting pressure on him, he wasn't able to do nearly as much.
Well, which is culminated into that kind of the suicide kill there. When the Diva gets close enough, the rocket barrage does damage to Pharah and takes him up. And that's kind of just like a really good example of how they adjusted to, combat Sam's Pharah, because he did get 3 rocket barrages in record time, and Predators looked good, but they also needed to maintain their focus because they did lose the point once in the middle of the fight, and you never know what those extra percentage points might bring you in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Those pennies do eventually start adding up, Boop. So invest wisely, kids. Yeah.
But looking forward to this next match, what I'm particularly interested in is seeing these two teams kind of battle out. There was a kind of asserted aggression that we saw on to the point, especially with the 4 tanks on the first round. And on King's Row, are we going to see, similar team comps, different team comps? We actually might see Lucio make it past spawn now.
Yes, exactly. We may see Lucio, and we may see that evolution of the Slambulance, what I like to call the Wham Bam Thank You Mambulance. A lot of tanks with Brigida, Lucio, speed boost onto the point, dare the enemy team to try and fight you on your own grounds. Yeah, we don't need verticality. We got all the HP, all the bodies, all the shield, all the CC, the stun, right? So I am really curious. We do see occasionally, Boop, Pharah's coming out on King's Row. So that could always be an option for either team that's attacking first. You work up, hybrid maps, King's Row. Well, I'm just going to say not just my favorite map, but according to the poll, also many of our Overwatch viewers' favorite maps, one of the OG maps. And what is distinct about hybrid is that there is that mini objective. You have to capture that first point in order to start the progress of the payload. So for these teams that potentially work really well with capture points, the win condition is clear. We just got to wipe the team off of this point, and a Pharah barrage can do that trick.
Yeah, and there's so many really cool flanking paths that Pharahs can take on both sides outside of the first point of King's Row. The offensive Pharah can find their way behind the team, push them together, and get a really great pincer move onto the first point for a good take. But the thing about King's Row, just like some of the control maps that I love, are the diversity of team comps that come out on the first point specifically. And this is where we might see Hanzo for the first time as well. Not a lot of snipers on control, but we definitely will see more of them here.
Yeah, certainly. Snipers always very strong. We may even see dual snipers. Widow, Hanzo kind of going. What? Yeah, exactly. So always, there's a lot of exciting potential. Definitely expecting Zarya's. If we are going with that shield tank, expecting Zarya's, particularly on Streets phase, as we now open up on the map. Looks like, hey, Hephaestus on the defense first, and indeed there will be that meatball composition on the point. Svenko on that Zarya, HM once again on the Brigida. So we saw kind of the weakness of this composition is it does take some time to get the ball rolling. And when you're on the defense, you don't get any do-overs. The defensive spawns are so much farther away than the attackers that even if you're trading evenly in these fights, the attackers will eventually win that war of attrition. Another thing to note is that Hephaestus is not running a Mercy, whereas Predators will have Unreal escorting Shockwave in the sky. So that resurrection mechanic may come in handy if Shockwave able to get an early pick first.
Yeah, and right now Shockwave's just going to try to get the team low enough for his team to pack him up and get into the back line. But with all of this beef on both sides, we're going to see a long war of attrition here. So spawns, just like you said, Hammer, are going to be very, very important, as no kills just yet. We're really... Oh, but Ninja, the one that you wouldn't expect, is going to start it off getting the first tank kill. And that's going to be a great first defense for Hephaestus, forcing Predators to reset.
Oh no, you absolutely cannot push in when you lose your main tank. This is actually one of the difficulties of running, the Reinhardt Zarya, is that they're very codependent on each other, rotating shields and bubbles. Get Sam working with Rampant Rhino to build up that charge. So Sam, though, look at this, 85% up to that Graviton Surge, far ahead of Svenko, and the barrage comes out.
Oh, Shockwave with the bubble keeps protected, but no damage to follow it up. XHM is actually going to get the first kill to start this off, so this is now a 6v5 on the point in the advantage of Hephaestus. And with that Rally, going to save some low HP team members and cause a reset. Rally, one of the strongest moves in the game, getting that armor down. And I want you to look at Svenko, because the shield is going to go down first. The armor will not get taken down until the shield does. So Svenko has just increased his durability by a ton. And the Graviton Surge is going to come out, and there's going to be another one to combat it. Shockwave's going to finally get some kills onto that Pharah and get 3 or 2.5, 3 finishing off with a Yak. So the better Graviton's going to go to the side of Predators.
Yeah, better Graviton, much better follow-up there. We mentioned the win condition here. Hephaestus just trying to grind out that ground war, but Predators clearly were setting up for that Wombo combo, and it paid huge dividends, as they'll likely be taking this point. No, Yaks with the Zarya bubble trying to force his way on.
Ooh, let's see if the self-destruct is going to get anybody, and it does! It gets the most important person with Unreal, giving Hephaestus a chance. It is a 5v4 onto the point right now, with Predators losing their momentum thus far, barely getting the point. It's only 80% there. You need the full circle to advance, but XHM is causing some discord into that back line, and Dresser is going to finish things off. So what looked like an easy take from Predators, we talked about the spawns. They seem to not matter, as the self-destruct Unreal take it back for Hephaestus.
What a beautiful rubber band defense group right there. Hephaestus, I just can hear the comms. Winnable, winnable. They got back onto the point. They knew exactly. Yeah, the rebound, insane. And now Predators, they have spent quite a few ultimates trying to get there, but the good news is they will have that Graviton barrage once again. Hephaestus, they brought tanks, but I hope they got an umbrella.
Well, they only have one a tick. Do you save the Graviton barrage for something better, or you're going to use it right now? You're going to use it right now, and the Defense Matrix not good enough, as 3.5 kills go down for Shockwave, and what was suspect take before is going to be a 100% take now, and they have 3 minutes and 15 seconds to get through Street Space, Ham.
Oh man, every time Predators start saying, oh, it was so incredibly close, is this when Hephaestus finally wins out that war? No, every time they have an answer, and it appears to be Graviton Surge Barrage combo. Now Hephaestus, yep, it is definitely time to change, my friends. HM going onto his own Pharah now. You have to have something to try and combat Shockwave over here. Drusker by himself, not enough. He needs to be able to peel for his backline. And so this Pharah pick hopefully going to help Hephaestus finally stabilize.
And the Valkyrie's going to get popped from Unreal. They have the ultimates to get through Street Space, but 2 midi directs from XHM are going to take Shockwave right out of the air. That is a down bird. Let's see if the self-destruct is going to be as effective as before. And no, it's just going to be a zoning one. And I love what Nicola's doing here, getting in the face of the Pharah, one of the best equipped to do so. And the rest of Hephaestus are going to take that first kill and let it landslide into a great defense and reset for Predators.
Yep, Predators pushing through, trying to get that payload through that very pesky first arch, and they have done so, but, stopped up just short of that bookstore. The interesting thing to note, though, Hex is staying on this Moira, so HM is going to be flying naked in the air, no direct pocketing for him, and no really long-range healing from Moira to be spoken of, so gonna have to be playing very careful here. And
Oh, great defense matrix, saving the rest of the team. Got the aim down that time, but because everything was they put so much into that matrix, the rest of the team was able to back it up anyway.
Yeah, no, Yak's coming in huge, earning himself an Earth Shatter in just a couple of seconds with a beautiful fire strike through the middle of that unwilling hug there. HM's barrage, almost kind of just like an afterthought on top, right? Yeah. Shockwave now has swapped off onto the Junkrat. An interesting choice. Predators now kind of taking the Hephaestus line, going to be all in with the shield break in the ground, largely choosing to leave HM uncontested. Junkrat, you know, one of the weaker heroes against the Pharah in the air. She can just take very different angles. So we see yet another grab.
Oh, and an Earthshatter to combat that. So Rampant Rhino going to throw that Earthshatter down. So is Yax, but Yax is going to get the advantage here onto the fight, and so is the rest of Hephaestus, as we see this over and over again. One kill goes down for Hephaestus, and the rest pile up.
Yeah, Hephaestus, even though they are on the defense and Predators kind of have that position to initiate fights, whoa, well, what do you know? HM is going to be taken down by Shockwave. I think he heard me denigrating his Junkrat skills, but this is excellent. Even though they have been losing out consistently and don't have so many ultimates, the Sire is money!
3 tires, not a lot to analyze there, Ham.
Yeah, no, 6 minus 3 is 3 minus 1.5 is not very many. So Hephaestus Predator's gonna get some more distance here.
And I love the way that they're asserting their space. So they're walking forward. They're making it so they definitely have to get this point before another fight happens. With 10 seconds left, they are going to have the minimal amount of time to get this through the 3rd point. They have decided to contest here on the point with the Graviton Surge. It's going to be a lot harder for them to do so. And Hephaestus, but a really great self-destruct, though, is going to even it up. Thanks, Mikla. You're giving Predators a chance, but with 2.7 meters, feels like much longer now with the Hephaestus kills coming in, and one left. Apollo, do you have a miracle in ya? It doesn't look like you do, as Hephaestus holds. I love what they did, though. They walked forward, but what happened? Why were they able to contest there?
Hephaestus, once again, as we go through this series, I'll be really curious, Boop, to see if they have as oppressive of attacks as they have with defenses so far. A big contributing factor has definitely been the Yax Rampant Rhino head-to-head. Unfortunately for Rampant Rhino, he's only been expending his rampaging energy in spawn. Yax has been getting the better of him in many of these head-to-heads, able to get much more value for those Earth Shatters, even when they are layered on top of Graviton Surges, so on and so forth. And so, you know, that being able to have Reinhardt that can balance his aggression, mind game the enemy Reinhardt, yet not put himself personally in a position of peril, is such a strong boon for the side of Hephaestus. Many times, even when it looked like Predators had the man advantage or potentially, you know, the ultimate economy advantage, Hephaestus still able to pull it back. They ceded the space in order to win the fight.
So Hephaestus coming in here looking to maintain that aggression onto Predator's defense. And so we can look at the defense since they're out of spawn right now, and they kind of expected that. Anytime you see Orisa, you're kind of looking at a defense that wants to hunker down and stay in one spot.
Oh, yes, certainly. It's all going to be about catching that dive, but not with welcoming warm arms of a friend, rather the explosive might of Shockwave on this Junkrat. So Predators Esports very ready to try and face this composition that Hephaestus is at least teasing here in spawn. This isn't unusual at all, running with that dual sniper. It's all going to be about trying to find out any mispositioned defenders. That's going to be the game plan for Hephaestus moving in.
We might just see the Sonic Arrow come out and then switch onto another character, maybe Farah, because that is what he's been playing. But someone else to look out for is Svenko and Sam, who are going to be dueling Widowmakers. And, you know, usually the first Widow to get a kill is going to get that fight for their team. XHM is going to decide to go for this Hanzo, but with that Orisa on the top right, I love what they're doing here. They're getting onto the point and forcing them onto it, but with Predator's first kill on Keja Dinja, there's gonna be a reset here because it's gonna be a lot harder to do this without Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy unfortunately cannot res herself, so that's going to be a couple of 10 seconds left down. But oh, the Storm Arrow, HM just using this statue to wear down these tanks. Mikla can't stay on the point for more than a few seconds. However, that's just long enough to find the kill onto Dresker, so Hephaestus is going to have to hold their horses for now once again.
So like a quasi reset. They like walked in there, but with the Hanzo doing so much damage at 97% with the ultimate, that can be huge for them coming into this point. So let's see if he's going to use the Dragon Strike to push people off of the point. He has the vision. Is he going to throw it up there? It looks like he is. Dragon Strike is going to target the Orisa and everyone on the high ground and get Sam in the end. And this is the opening that Hephaestus needs to grab this first point on King's Row. This self-destruct needs to be big, and no, it is not. It's not going to get anybody, but the time to kill has been a little slow for Hephaestus thus far. But with XHM's kill on Unreal, it's going to be a lot easier for them to take it here in the end, and that's exactly what we're going to see as Hephaestus, thanks to a great Dragon Strike, takes the first point.
Oh no, playing a very disciplined pick game right here is Hephaestus, not, putting themselves at peril in order to try and get the damage in. HM playing really well on this Hanzo, kind of understanding his role in this team alongside Svenko. Svenko's all about that headshot kill, but HM you could tell that his entire job was to plink down the Predators Esports tank line, make it so that they cannot hold strong on this point. As Rampant Rhino goes and gets the charge.
Rampant Rhino, the faith, the follow up with the Transcendence. He knew exactly what was happening there, saving Rampant Rhino. That's going to be worth it in the end, forcing a 5v4 here. Sam's going to get a last cherry on top pick for Yax, and really great charge, but Transcendence is a lot to invest in that.
Indeed, it was a little bit of a reinforced charge, a lot of forcing his way across the map. Did give Predators a little bit of space, though, to try and set up once again. They have to be wary, though. So many ultimates online for Hephaestus. Is going to be an angry Mumpy trying to make a little bit of space here.
And Transcendence coming out of Hephaestus to kind of combat the ultimates that are, maybe going to be there for Predators, but right now they don't have any 0 for 6 in terms of ultimate economy for Predators. So this is an opening for Hephaestus Esports, and they're going to take it because of that Dragon Strike right through the payload. It causes discord into the rest of the team and makes them separate, and the dive then functions at its best. But Unreal doing Lucio things on the payload. We've all been there, man.
Lucio doing Lucio things does get spotted out. Not quite the wins this time, but Hephaestus investing pretty heavily. They have basically whittled themselves down to just Drusker's self-destruct in this case. But Svenko on this Pharah, an excellent pick here on the Streets phase, able to oftentimes get the drop on top of the heads of the defenders here. Shockwave, though, will have that Graviton Surge on hand. Hex, having just used that Transcendence, will not have that supportive ultimate to save his team.
Hephaestus does have the positional advantage, but the Graviton Surge is really not going to do anything just yet. But the contest is happening on the point with 3 minutes left. That is an enormous amount of time to get to the yellow box of victory, but Mikla is going to make things harder for them. And I love this Unreal Lucio here, causing Hanzo's life to be the worst right now, as it works because he wasn't able to do the damage onto the team like he was meant to, because Unreal was being that pesky mosquito.
Diary of a sad Hanzo, man. Just 1v1ing a Lucio. It's just so painful. Transcendence in from Hex, trying to maintain this momentum. There's still ultimates on the line, and Hephaestus want to prove their dominance here. Dragons going to stay hungry, though, not going to be gobbling up any kills, as the kill feed still rolls in red. Mikla picking up 2, and Hephaestus now definitely going to be forced for the reset here, as we see 2 minutes and change left in the clock for Predators to just get that payload a few more meters. Good news, Shockwave just 30% away to yet another potentially fight-winning Graviton Surge. Going to be looking for the redemption arc this time around, as previously only able to show the wall who's boss.
The redemption arc, most likely the best character of that season. Ooh, good Fire Strike, though. Gonna get that ult charge, getting high. But Earthshatter's nowhere close. 0 for 6 on each side. So we're gonna get some just regular Overwatch here. It's all about skill and aim. And let's see who has the best as the teams go in. And this is actually gonna help XHM with the healing, because with all of that damage, you don't heal unless you do that damage. And with a great Fire Strike, Rampant Rhino is going to go down. But the rest of Predators, though, is gonna follow that up with Sam popping off, getting 3 kills on that Widowmaker, and going to cause a reset for Hephaestus. That was a little bit unexpected.
Oh, absolutely. It looked like HM might well have won that for Hephaestus there, with an incredible showing on Brigida, actually going to have earned his rally in the span of a single fight. But however, Sam coming up clutch, absolutely saving that defense single-handedly for his team. Hephaestus, though, I like this route of engagement. They know that Rampant Rhino has been a weak spot for Predators. They're going to try and exploit it with this Brig, especially now with the rally in.
But they did see them coming in thanks to that vision, and another great defense matrix from Mikla is going to cause Svenko to go down in the end. So really great team play coming from Predators thus far, and with the ultimate advantage now, they're going to push them all the way back to their spawn.
Oh, and that's never a place you want to be. What is this? Shades of Selfless during Alienware monthly melees. Catch me and my boy Sinatra spawn camping. Not Predators. Gonna play this safe, though. They, don't want any potential for back cap with any sneaky Quejadinha Lucios, and they also know they have plenty of tools to try and hold Hephaestus before they can even touch this point. Grabs from both teams going to be huge. Rampant Rhino has the chance to save this for his team with an Earth Shatter.
I love how they just pushed themselves in there. Coalescence going to come out, keep Yax alive, and the grab is going to be huge coming from a Drusker, but no one killed just yet. Shockwave, though, going to take down the support, and that's going to make Hephaestus much, much weaker. But hey, the team heard me, and it looks like they're going to say that isn't true, Bupasaurus, because Yax is going to continue to his tank dominance thus far. You pointed him out earlier, and he's doing exactly what you said he needed to do.
Oh, absolutely. On fire, and deservedly so. The payload is so incredibly close here. Predators with all the speed boost of your life. Apollo trying to stall, but the Moira Fade not going to be enough, and it looks all but inevitable that Hephaestus win out this map. Earth Shatter not going to be catching many, but it may not even matter. Rampant Rhino down again at the hands of a Lucio.
And so now the payload does finish in the end. They finally get it. Hephaestus is going to be the bestest and go up 2-0. Here right before halftime. Proud of that one, I'm not gonna lie. As we see this play of the game from a Shockwave, and something that I kind of want to talk about during these rounds is we talked about Svenko and Sam being Tracer players. However, both of them have shown capable hands in other DPS players, but it looks like the other DPSs in King's Row were a little bit more, they were just showing up the kill feed a lot more.
Oh, certainly. I mean, when you are choosing to run one of your DPS on a tank, instead, Zarya definitely kind of, a Roadhog-esque hero where you can also be outputting a ton of damage. But still, the pure DPS heroes like the Pharah, the Junkrat, we saw Shockwave repping both of those heroes, can definitely make a huge impact. It's all about that burst when you're going tank v tank, right, Boop?
Exactly. And I know that there are 3 people that definitely want to talk about this game in more detail. So we're going to throw it back to our host, Mushu, and the desk.
Thanks, Boop and Ham. Wow, what a crazy series so far. Already getting out to a 2-0 for this series. Of course, we are watching Hephaestus versus Predator. Again, host Mushu Beef and Lemon Kiwi and Scribe as well. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Going all the way back to... excuse me,
Lijiang.
Yeah, Lijiang Tower. I was gonna say Ilios, but I was like, no, that was from our earlier.
It's not nighttime there.
Yeah, so it was a really back and forth fight. If you remember back on Night Market, I believe was where we started on, of course. So at this point, so Lemon, I want to go to you first because we saw them come out with very different compositions. Can you talk about those compositions and what was it about how they played it? Like, was it more of a battle of that one comp was better than the other? Was it more the execution? What are your thoughts on that first round?
It's definitely a mix of composition and execution with what you're playing with. And just a side note of what I noticed in the actual roster for Hephaestus, Yax taking that main tank role was Drusker, who's also a main tank player, taking that Diva. So you can see that both teams kind of going towards the tankier cops back in King's Row. But let's start with the Pharah battles, the Tracer, and the Widow game. So we started with, yes, on Night Market, where Hephaestus had a support player that was HM on Brigitte, while as Predators had started with a Widowmaker, and that was Shockwave. So Hephaestus running, I think eventually Svenko on Tracer. They play more towards the point, and this is where Tracer is going to be most comfortable, where Brigitte is going to be most comfortable wherever they decide to play. While as you're running a Widowmaker, you got to find those angles. Either you got to assist your Widow, your Pharah in the sky with your Widow, which I didn't feel like he was landing a lot of those shots. So if you're not contributing to the Pharah battle, then you got to sort of load into these tank shields, where Shockwave was struggling on all fronts, I think, on Night Market. And I think this is where we saw on Gardens, Shockwave eventually went to the Tracer to go after Svenko, because Hephaestus were playing towards the point, and a Widow was going to be more effective as the Tracer. And this is where that switch came in a little too late.
Yeah, and they're kind of back and forth on those swaps. But I think one thing that was interesting is, of course, their tank line, or just all together, Hephaestus seemed to be playing a little bit more together. So Scribe, on that side, I mean, that's one thing that's easy to say for us to say, oh, well, the team's playing better together. They're playing more as a team. But what was it really about how they played that allowed them to kind of, like, after the early game jitters, they really solidified the point and they finished off very convincingly on that second stage?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's kind of exactly what Hephaestus did the best. I think across the entire series on Lijiang, they looked definitely much more coordinated on a lot of different team compositions. Drusker was probably the most influential person in either part of the match, just because Pharah is an obvious counter to triple tank compositions, just because you're out of range to most of them. But the slight adaptation of using a D.Va instead of a Roadhog in this composition really did just shut Sam out of the skies. And Sam was trying extremely hard. We saw on the first map exactly what his intentions are. He wanted to get behind the enemy team, get chip damage in, and set up for those rocket barrages. And the team, obviously Predators, was willing to follow up on those rocket barrages. Drusker, however, making sure that Sam just did not have any comfort whatsoever on the map. But I liked everything else that the team was doing as well. They were making sure to help out their tank lines. They were maintaining, playing together, making sure that they were using the fact that the Winston Shield and Defense Matrix don't cover too much ground. They're playing group together, negating as much fair damage as possible. And I mean, that's as much as you can do there.
Yeah, negating the fair damage. I mean, just taking away the kind of the whole win condition of that composition is to get damage from the Pharah onto the ground, and then you follow up with the rest of it. But it seemed like Predator was not able to do so. But we brought up an interesting person. You talked about Sam. So I guess this one's really for either of you. So we're going to take a risk here because I'll have you guys both jump in while we're all remote. Because first Sam, you guys couldn't fight for the permission to speak. Sam kind of came alive in Kings Row. I know we're kind of jumping towards the end, towards their defense, or maybe Lemon. Let's just throw it to you first because I feel like you probably have a lot of good things to say about Sam. Was it him warming up into that second part of Kings Row for their fight? Like, what made Sam successful? Was it how he was playing, how the team was playing around him?
It's tough. I think Sam played very flexible. They tried their best, though, Predators. And honestly, when it came to Predators defense, I thought they were going to hold it. Like, they were winning. Close. It was like the last chance they had to hold point B before that yellow box of victory. And Predators were winning fight after fight after fight. So I think this was their best showing all around. And I think sort of their transition into tankier comps, because Hephaestus has been playing this triple tank most of Lijiang, and now they bring it to Kings Row. So you can see Predators trying to bring tank to the tank, bring the fire to the fire. They were starting to do that, and I felt Predators, once it came down to the last fight of point B, the pressure really set in, and that's when they started winning fights, because they didn't win a single fight for the point on their defense. They didn't win any fights on the street phase. It came down to like the last meters they had to defend for point B, and that's when Predators turned up.
Absolutely, and I think in terms of the Widowmaker play though, because continue to play that into point B on their defense. Scribe, I mean, what does that do to your team composition? Continue to play Widowmaker. I mean, you got some sight lines, you can dodge it out with between the alleyways, and there's a lot of cover. But does that affect like how you want to run that, especially in the meta where there's Lucio as a factor with how these teams are playing against each other?
Yeah, I think the biggest factor for the entire Widow situation was HM. Obviously, HM just did so well playing the Pharah initially with no resource Pharah at all, actually winning Pharah duels pretty consistently, and that really caused Sam to switch off onto the Widow. Now, this is the big issue. Widow is great at countering Pharah in the air, but HM recognizing that they had made a pretty crucial switch into Widowmaker and they were going to settle on it for the rest of the map, makes the switch to Brigitte. This means that there's another shield available. Rally, especially that first fight, Rally was pretty intentional there, giving them the additional shields running into what can look like a possible last team fight. Make sure that there's not a lot of pick potential. And from that point on, engaging, moving forward, you kind of lock Sam into a really bad situation. There's no easy target for him to kill. Everyone has armor, and he's just trying to sit in the back, trying to get pick after pick. They no longer have that really big AoE projectile threat either, and that kind of pigeonholed them to a really bad situation for the last push.
And I guess as we're wrapping this up and throwing it back soon to the casters, and I know it's already this quick 2-0. Lemon, you are our expert for Predator Gaming. What do they need to do? Put on the coach hat. And I was stealing this from Boop. He is we just basically
coach hat.
The analyst is in the hot seat. Putting the coach hat on you. What are you going to tell your team right now to bring them back from this 0-2 to try to bring it back and reverse sweep them basically?
Oh man, it's so tough. I just think Shockwave is a huge carry for the team. If you could enable Shockwave, whatever he's doing, you saw the rip tires, you saw him on, I think it was even Pharah, and he was actually turning up on Kings Row. And I think Predators are warming up. And once it comes down to the pressure, it's down to the wire. Predators are going to step it up. They're a very reactive team when it comes to their compositions, but I think they're here to play. The 2-0, I think it's going to go all the way.
Oh, all right. We're thinking it's going to go all the way. And how about for you, Scribe? You are the captain for Hephaestus. What are you telling him for them to close it out 3-0?
Continue doing what you're doing. I mean, they're making the right choices. I want to allow HM to get a lot more creativity there. I want him to, basically challenge Sam and Shockwave. But they're the big threats there. Challenge them first.
All right, well, we'll see if Assault's going to turn it around. We will be going to Temple of Anubis, and we're throwing it back to the casters. Ham and Boop, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Moosh, and we are back here. The Boop NATO, the Hamosaur is going to bring you Anubis in this pretty good series so far. The scoreboard might say 2-0, but we've definitely seen some good Overwatch.
Oh no, very close games actually. We see, as the desk mentioned, Predators seem a little bit reactive, but they're still giving Hephaestus an extremely hard fight for every single battle. If Hephaestus don't have an ultimate combo on the line, it seems like sometimes they struggle a little bit to continue the momentum from fight to fight.
Something I love that the desk talked about was that proactive versus reactive strategies. And so that's something that we're going to talk about. 2CP is a great kind of map to really talk about that as well. So as we move into Anubis, we'll point out exactly what kind of proactiveness these teams need. And just so you guys know, proactive is being intentional about your decision making, and being reactive is after seeing something, how you can get back to that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of the panic cue. Oh God, there's definitely calculated reactive plays, of course, like, okay, we're going to be holding this Earth Shatter to counter shatter a Graviton Surge and that type. It just hasn't quite been working out for Predators so far. The cards haven't quite fallen in place. So Anubis definitely somewhere where they can try and stop up Hephaestus's momentum, as moving from point A to point B, oftentimes, the whether or not you have an impressive time bank to show for it is off of the backs of how you approach these initial fights.
Exactly, Ham. So we're going to get started here on Temple of Anubis, and Predators is running traditional dive, and Sam is going to be on the Genji, and Shockwave is going to be playing that Tracer. Something that we've seen in a lot of our VOD reviews are some pretty fine Genjis. So I'm really excited to see Sam and what he's going to be able to bring on this dive, especially with those Dragon Blades. But Hephaestus is going to go ahead and do a standard Junkrat Widow defense here, and what that does is it takes the map and makes it smaller because of those lines of sights and because of those grenades.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to worry about both the Widow Scope and any Junkrat spam stopping up those hallways, and traps as well. Going to make both Sam and Shockwave's lives extremely difficult. And in fact, Genji going to be the first one down, courtesy of a beautiful dome from HM.
Yeah, and that's just going to be a runaway reset for them, as Hephaestus, though, is going to even with a kill. It is now a 5v4 on the point. Shockwave still on the point thus far. This might just be for Pulse Bomb charge. Is he going to try to get out? Yes, Shockwave does. Kijadinja is going to get the res. This is everyone back. This is a 6v6 here on their first point. But looking at the ults, Transcendence going to be available for Predators, but Valkyrie already available for Hephaestus. So the support's doing some work already. The Discord almost taken down Genji there, but to no avail. It's still going to be alive. 6v6 still. Rampant Rhino taken down low. Is he going to be able to survive? Yes. So this is just another jockeying for position, and eventually the war of attrition will win. Shockwave, nothing to it on that pulse bomb, but is going to get some orbs to the face anyway, as Hex is going to get the first kill on the fight. Transcendence out for Hex, and that's going to be in response to the Genji blade, and that's going to help things out, but not before XHM goes down. So it's another back and forth fight on the point, Ham, until Drusker is going to take Unreal down. So the defense is going to take the rest of the kills. Predator is going to try one more time.
Whoa! Shockwave making his mark. No, can he get the Mercy? That would be a huge, enormous pick. No, Kijadinja is able to fly to safety here. We see what an incredibly long and drawn-out fight, but so much to break down over there. Shockwave actually going to go off of the Tracer after unsuccessfully attempting to 1v5 the entire high ground from Hephaestus, who have been utilizing their positioning excellently to both keep HM and Kijadinja alive throughout this fight. Now, Unreal will have that Valkyrie, but not going to save Sam from the tire.
Yeah, Sam not really getting the momentum he needs on that Genji to get work in. Been pretty quiet thus far on this attack, but Rampant Rhino is going to make some noise, getting the first couple kills. Ooh, and that headshot's going to open up this point for Predators. This is going to be the time that they can take it one tick down, or are they going to get the rest? And it looks like Hephaestus is trying to contest on this point, but to no avail, as Predators will take this first point thanks to some good headshots, some good tank play.
Yeah, Predators looking a little bit scattered, but excellent swap from Shockwave to try and counter the enemy Widowmaker. I mean, one of the ways that you can do it is either by closing the distance with the Genji Tracer or running your own Widowmaker, which has been, you know, a lot more successful for this attacking team. We saw that. We mentioned the positioning from both of these sides. Once Hephaestus gave up that high ground, Kejadinya fell to the low ground. That's when Predators found their opening, took down the Mercy, and now they're going to try and snowball this onto the point. Infrasight is up, but no other offensive ults to speak of, though Apollo will have trans.
Ooh, Sam getting out with 20 HP. Tyre out. Mikla self-destruct as well. Tyre is not going to get nothing, and Predator's going to give themselves an opportunity here, but without that tank, it's not going to have a lot of beef. And something, speaking about snowballs, XHM is on this point for that delay. We're going to need that here, thanks to that Genji Blade coming out of Sam. Dragon Blade doing some work on the point, but XHM doing exactly what May is supposed to do, being the thorn in an attacking team's side. However, the cryostasis was off the point, so they haven't gotten that tick yet, so they're still looking for that first tick on this first attack. But Yax is going to take things back into Hephaestus' advantage, and here on 2CP, it's always going to be the advantage of that defensive team. And here we go, we finally see it with Svenko putting the cherry on top of that Doomfist.
Doomfist, definitely one of the Boop NATO's favorite defensive stall heroes. How many times have we seen this hero actually save points? So Svenko going to be sticking with the man with the plan, not just a fist. Very close, fairly close to that Meteor Strike, so definitely something you can make use of on any kind of objective-centered maps. However, Predators, they themselves going to be switching things up with Shockwave now on this Brigitte, potentially to try and stun the Doomfist out of his combos. Sam himself ticking up to that Dragon Blade, where he has been extremely successful in the past.
I do not believe Brigitte actually stops the fist. It's different than Reinhardt, but still going to make Svenko a lot more vulnerable than he was. Sam, though, getting a great kill on the Drusker. This Genji's starting to pop off, but again, as I say that, let's see if that Meteor Strike is going to do anything. Yes, Apollo's going to go down with the regular fist, but the Maywall is going to keep him out of the fight, which actually could be bad for Hephaestus there in terms of defense. They've gotten picked off. But Yax with that Primal Rage is going to keep it. Sam's going to go down. A lot of stuff happening there, but in the end, Predators, you know, get installed once more.
Yeah, Predators decided to throw out that Genji Blade, see what they could get done. It was actually not a terrible trade at all. They pulled that Transcendence out from Hext, and that is definitely a support ultimate that you need to get rid of before you make a point B attack in earnest, because once again, the defensive spawn's so strong here on Anubis point B that, that it can buy just enough time for the rest of the team to get on the Maywall. I just love it.
May just makes me giggle. All right, and so let's see if Sam's going to be giggling with some kills. Good support, though. I love the focus that the Mercy is giving him thus far, keeping him alive because he's going to be the playmaker for this point. Dragon Blade going to be the closest offensive ultimate. They won a chance here. They weren't able to get the tick earlier, so they're coming in clean.
Yeah, and Shockwave now on this Pharah as well, going for the all-in with those big ultimates, but gonna have to hold his hand. No, the Transcender's actually thrown out, potentially trying to cover a Resurrection from Unreal, who's very close to that Valkyrie himself. Sam just biding his time, waiting for the perfect time to unsheath his blade, but he himself will also be joining Shockwave in the respawn as Predators get stuffed once again.
The Hex does have that Transcendence, so what we're gonna look for is the reactionary Transcendence there, where you hear the blade come out, and then you unleash that Trans to protect your team. But one thing, what year is it? XHM still on the main. It seems to be working out, and Blizzard is strong here on this second point. Can delay anything.
I mean, I want to see Blizzard into Meteor Strike. That's just, please, Papa Jeff, Santa, Overwatch Santa, bless us with this ultimate combo, as Hephaestus have 5 to their names, 2 Predators, 4 is going to be a huge ultimate showdown.
And the ultimates are starting to come down as Unreal's going to unleash the Valkyrie, and so is Kejadinya, and here it is, here is that Blizzard. No Meteor Strike just yet. Yes, we are going to get the Meteor Strike onto Sam, who's going to die with Dragon Blade. That is going to hurt. However, the picks are in the advantage of Hephaestus thus far, but the picks from Rampant Ryan are going to keep it up. The way that this has gone, I feel like it's safe to say the defense will hold, but Kejadinya, though, is going to make things a little bit more interesting. They're going to tighten up a little bit, Hephaestus is, and Svenko is going to push him off at the point. So, Ham, you got what you wanted. You saw the Blizzard Meteor Strike.
Oh, no, and it was satisfying, Boop, just telling you. And Svenko, I love this Doomfist. I mean, he's used the ultimate. He's still going to stick with it. It's just a very unusual pick, just like the May and Predators. How you can see Unreal now actually going to swap off onto the Lucio Shockwave back on the Tracer just to see if they can work their way around these strange defensive picks. Svenko, I love this. Just mind game the enemy. Go for that fist shot onto the Pharah mid-air. It's like hitting a fly with a slingshot, but why not? The mental game is strong.
Transcendence and a Dragon Blade coming out at the same time. Sam is going to be 100% protected for Predators Esports, and that is going to pay off as the first 4 kills are going to come down on the point. This is a do or die situation for Predators Esports as we are in overtime, and they are doing it, folks, as they are going to get the first ticks. Now, this is 2CP in overtime, so the respawn clocks are longer. Let's see if they are able to come in. Yes, they are able to contest, as Spanko, though, is going to get 2 kills on the point. Another Meteor Strike is going to push them off, and this is all of a sudden in Hephaestus Esports' hands right now. This could be a great defense on their side, especially with Apollo getting picked off him. This is going to be huge. Valkyrie popped for Kejadinja right now, and that is going to try to keep Hephaestus open, but Shockwave going to get a couple more picks. Apollo on 76 just to run back to the point. Ooh, Svenko, I believe because of the Maywall, gets the hit onto Shockwave. What a great defense from Hephaestus there.
Incredible. Doomfist dive defense. I am loving it. Spanko in with the Spanko, got 3 kills single-handedly in that last defense, and I'm just geeking out about it, dude. Wow.
My heart is racing. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, because he's looking so close for Predators Esports, but once again, just not able to seal the deal, Boop. It's definitely worth mentioning for any audiences a little bit just now tuning into the South America Overwatch scene. Hephaestus and Predators have a bit of history together.
Yeah, they saw each other in trials and it went all 5 games. And, you know, while this is 2-0, these fights have been close. And, you know what, Predators, it's all about, hey, you get the first couple picks, but they don't seem to know exactly what to do right after they get the advantage. They provide Hephaestus openings to come back into the fight.
Exactly. Time to kill is a little bit of an issue for Predators thus far in this series. We see, either Shockwave or Sam making huge openings, hero blades, big barrages, and then the rest of the team just not quite able to convert that into point percentage. Hephaestus stall, is kudos to the defensive team as well. The stagger, the trickle has been very good.
And Svenko using the Maywall on Tracer was amazing.
Alley oop.
Yeah, exactly. Talk about synergy, right?
Exactly,
It needs to be in every game. And it looks like Sam was thinking about it. They are going to be on the defense here. So going to go ahead and go back to Junkrat. Not going to commit to the May. I'm going to be ready for that next time. But we saw how good May could be on the last point, though. So we might be seeing it on second point defense. That was like a strategy from 2 years ago. But looking at these comps right now, Predator is going to be rocking the standard. We saw it with Hephaestus, Sam on Junkrat, Shockwave on Widow.
Yeah, this time around, though, Rampant Rhino will be on the Orisa, most likely High Horse. We do see the wireframes. They are going to be on the very tippy-top high ground here, trying to take it away from HM, make it very difficult for that Widowmaker to set up in an advantageous position here. It's just searching for those sightlines, but no, it's going to be Shockwave picking up the first kill.
Shockwave going to get the first kill on that Widow. You always want to, when you're the first Widow on that scoreboard, that feels good for the rest of the round, can really set you up confidently to click those heads. And right now, the attacking team just getting stalled out because of how Sam and Shockwave work together. So you just spam the backside of the entrance, or any of the entrances with the grenades.
Yeah, we see here Hephaestus going for the patient rotation here, trying to force Predators off with a concerted dive as Yax makes his way in.
Unable to knock Rampant Rhino off of the high ground, so they're going to maintain that presence. But Shockwave going to get tickled and not get taken down, though, as Yax is going to take Apollo down instead. But right now the advantage is in Predators Esports defense. So the picks are there, but the biggest pick of all, Yax on Unreal, might make things interesting, and Predators has folded in this exact position before. This needs to be a big tire. Will it be? And yes, it does get Kejadinja, but Svenko's going to get the kill on Sam before the tire. All of this goes down, and it looks like in the end, the attacking team respawns are going to be the advantage here.
Yeah, Hephaestus, man. Yax and Rampant Rhino. We mentioned this earlier on in King's Row when it was head-to-head, Rhine v. Rhine. But even when on different heroes, you can see Yax burning with the power of a very proud gorilla with all of the damage and finishing, in particular, finishing damage that he's doing for his team versus Rampant Rhino, who hasn't really been able to make as strong of a mark. Though the Predator's main tank will be swapping off onto his own gorilla, not monkey, please. But look at all of these hero swaps. Sam now onto the Brigida. This is going to reset so many of the ultimate economies, or excuse me, the ultimate percentage for the defense here. They cannot afford to do this in the face of Svenko's Blade.
And Svenko's Blade is going to be online here in just 1 second, but he's going to have to wait as Yax gets taken down early on in the fight. But the way that these two teams are playing, that doesn't spell the end, as they are going to go ahead and unleash the Blade and the ultimates. Only 1 kill thus far, but sometimes it's all you need, as Midla going to get staggered out outside of that mech. And right now they do have 1 tick. They just need 1.5 more. And it looks like the way that these kills are going down, that might happen, as 3 are coming back for Predators Esports. Reinhardt gets launched into the air and off into the point. Shockwave going to get the better of his counterpart HM, and what looked like an opening for Hephaestus there ends up being a closing for Predators.
Whew, it was so mighty close, just millimeters away from sealing the deal was Hephaestus. Interesting that Apollo decided to stay on the Zenyatta. We saw that when Hephaestus was in this position, they immediately swapped over to the Lucio, but they do have Sam on this Tracer, so plenty of mobility still present for this defensive team to try and dance around this point. However, they may not need it. They're likely going to be able to weather 1 more attack here, at least with Shockwave's tire very close to completion here. He's gonna need it, as Svenko himself, an impressive ultimate generation, even for a Genji. This is called the anti-AKM Blade. He has the ultimate. In 1 fight, he's gonna pull the sword right away.
Yeah, the sword is pulled and gonna get some kills, as Unreal gonna go down, unable to get Diva before they get into the mech, but he's gonna get the D-mech again anyway. Ooh, really well-placed trap coming from Junkrat, but no one's there to follow up the kill. No tire kills at all either, and with 4 minutes and 10 seconds and barely any distance left onto the point, that is it, folks, as Hephaestus is going to take this 3 games to 0. I do believe these are 4 map sets, so we are going to see 1 more, but Hephaestus arguably on their strongest map so far.
Oh, absolutely. It looked like they had a game plan for every single fight. Proactive, winning out once again this time around. Play of the game actually going to a Zenyatta. Interesting, definitely not something we see every day, but look at all of those kills coming in. A great support player enabling his tanks and his DPS.
Unbridled aggression coming from Svenko there, both on Doomfist and Genji. It was a joy to watch.
No hesitation.
No hesitation whatsoever. That's like a bad part about Genji and Doomfist sometimes, is sometimes people play them and they kind of get intimidated by the skill cap of the character, right? So they are either trying too hard, but sometimes you just gotta unleash. You just gotta be you, right?
Holding so much power in these hands. Where should I? Oh,
you all have it in you. You all can be amazing Genjis one day if you just have the confidence and the willpower to do it.
You gotta get that Genji ninja swagger.
Exactly. Ninja swag. But we are going to see these teams once more, and that's really exciting because I've loved the series so far. Once again, we are at 3-0 in the side of Hephaestus Esports, but this has been a pretty great round so far.
Absolutely. Hephaestus may have taken the series, but Predators still have the chance to put a map win on this 2nd day of South American Contenders over here. And so, and again, you never want to go down 4-0, right? This is you want to start the tournament strong. Okay, well, maybe we still have time to adapt to what Hephaestus is bringing. Let's see what we can get done on the 4th map.
Yeah, and you don't want to start this off because you want to end in the top 4. We might be at the beginning of the season, but everyone's eyeing those playoffs and even relegation. Predators knows what that's like, and they want to avoid that. But to no avail, they are going to start off 0-1 here. But I see a lot of potential there. I think if they're able to just polish up some of their defense, they could really do some great things.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning once again that Predators have kept the same roster from the last season, but have added in a new main tank that they're currently working with, Rampant Rhino. So anytime your main tank has been replaced, you're not only talking about, the game fight tempo, how much space is going to be taken, how much space will be afforded for your DPS, but also just shot calling, communication in general. There's always a bit of a warm-up time for when teams are swapping players around like that.
And so how will that affect Route 66, which is going to be our last map, another standard map? Just saying, the map pool for South American Contenders is amazing.
Wow.
So we're really excited to see these. But Route 66, some new characters. We tend to see some McCree. We haven't seen a single McCree just yet, but maybe they'll flex on that. Lucio can happen here on attack, and they definitely do favor that character. What are we going to be seeing?
Potentially, this might be where Predators starts finding their momentum boop, because Route 66, distinct from kind of the other maps that we've seen so far, doesn't really have that first capture point, which seems to be where Predators are struggling a little bit, is winning a cohesive team fight. You can play the objective on Route 66, get distance, with the payload, even if maybe, it's a 2-4-3 trade, maybe, the ultimate economy isn't 100% in your favor. You can still push forward, take real estate, gain distance for that payload without having to necessarily, get all the kills and then capture the point.
Yep, let's see if we're going to see a standard defense here as well. Something that we have seen in some VODs is taking the defense up closer to spawn, getting a quick pick, and just getting 10 to 15 seconds off the clock. We see Widow picks immediately here on Route 66 a lot. Or are we going to see Big Earls? Remember, it's pronounced one way, and it's Big Earls.
Big Earls, yeah, no space between the two words. It's actually one big.
And it's more of a URLL.
Yeah.
Earls. Yeah, Big Earls.
Yeah.
Rawhide.
You got to get that southern drawl on.
Exactly.
When in Rome.
Is that where Route 66 is?
Exactly. Got to get your Italian drawl on, man. Yeah, that's...
Okay.
Yeah,
I trust you.
Yeah, no, take my word for it. It's all the rage with the hip new kids.
I believe every word that comes out of your mouth.
Dabbing? I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yo, that's so lit. So now we're into the game, because I'm sorry for the feelings we all just made you have. Apologies. But now we're getting back into the game, and Predator's going to be rocking the attack, and Sam's going to be on Hanzo, which is going to be good to see. Haven't seen a lot of Hanzo. We did see it on King's Row. Sam had some really good Dragon Strikes there, and Hephaestus going to be rocking a pretty standard comp other than Roadhog.
Yep, exactly. No damage mitigation for Hephaestus. They're all in with the hook one-shot potential. Is going to be Yax and Drusker on the Reinhardt Zarya respectively. So there's definitely a lot of potential for strong damage to come through for Hephaestus, whereas Predator's definitely playing that pick style. You see Sam here, though, ticking up already 50% to that Dragon Strike, and his counterpart gonna get the drop on HM.
Yeah, we talked about it. Usually the Widow pick is the first one, and that's exactly what we see right now. Get that shot from Shockwave. Oh, very, very nice. Cocky hexed there, the shot caller of the team, thinking he can take down Shockwave, but he needs some help with doing that instead. But Svenko on that Roadhog, getting those kills.
Yeah, Miktla as well, recognizing Kasia. Dinya probably would have gone for that res, gets the kill on the Mercy as well. And so we see Predators getting that payload around that first difficult, tricky corner of Big Earls. Is 90 degrees, but it might as well be like, a 90-degree incline for how hard it is to push it around.
With the infrared sight, you knew exactly where they were. Shockwave going to take advantage of that vision too. Great hook, but unable to consolidate it with the kill. So that feels bad, man, for sure. Oh, Hephaestus, though, going to get the Diva because of the rocket boosters into the charge. I don't believe anyone was going to be hit by that, so that was just the DMAC there. And Predators Esports on the back of some really good tank play. Going to get this first point.
Oh no, Rampant Rhino definitely putting in performance over here. Hephaestus playing a little bit loose and sloppy, though, I have to feel. We do see some hero swaps. Drusker going to go onto that Diva now for a little bit more of that backline diving potential. But Shockwave again finds HM. Guy has a target painted on his forehead.
Yeah, HM, and definitely the colder Widow right now. And when you're running Widow versus Widow, that cannot be what your descriptor is in these team fights. Sam already with Dragon Strike again. We just saw it right after Big Earl. controls. Oh, it's easy to tell where people are going when they're falling, and Kejadinja learns that the hard way as Sam's going to get a really fun kill on Hanzo.
Gravity tragedy, man. You know, that immutable force of physics strikes again as, you know, as we predicted here, Predators Esports are now halfway through Streets phase, and Hephaestus have actually yet to win a team fight.
We haven't seen this kind of shockwave since, I believe, King's Row when he was playing Junkrat, and so really good will thus far. However, the vision is going to go for Hephaestus with those infrared wall hacks. They know exactly where everyone is right now.
You're going to see those dragons coming exactly for their face.
Exactly. And so Transcendence is going to be popped out as well in response to the Primal Rage. Jack's going to go down. This is another really good fight for Predators Esports thus far. Is Spanko going to be able to convert on this kill? No, because of those healing orbs. Transcendence may be thrown away. I believe Hanzo was safe in that, you know, in that time. Rampant Rhino gonna get hexed though, so Hephaestus just kind of threw stuff away there.
Oh no, yeah, Hephaestus, another strange, uncharacteristic defense from what we've seen from this team. We harken back to that King's Row when running that quad tank. They looked so good coming back in for that last second defense. This seems like an entirely different play style from them on Route 66. Could be that they're just trying out new things, as Spanko, I believe this is his third hero of the map, now going to be swapping onto Brigida for those closed, tight corners in this third point push. Shockwave himself going to be going on the Zarya for that Graviton Surge wipe potential. Both very good picks, as Drusker will also be swapping onto that Russia from Russia with love hero.
And Spango plays an aggressive Brigitte, so we're gonna be seeing him get in their faces, because again, you don't heal unless you're doing that damage, and we're actually seeing that right now as you see that ult charge go up, and Spango's gonna end up on the kill feed, getting Rampant Rhino. That is a huge opening for Hephaestus, as no shields available for Predators at this point, and right now we're just gonna see cleanup.
Yeah, Hephaestus now playing with both hands. As we see once again this tried and true strategy that served them well earlier in the series, isolating Rampant Rhino, taking him down early, getting that stun on the main tank, and opening up the rest of the tasty, soft chicken tenders behind him. Spanko 80% up to the rally. The ultimate generation has been insane.
Yeah, Earthshatter out, Dragon Strike out. Earthshatter still available. Actually, Transcendence will be popped, and so will Coalescence. So this is an ult fiesta right now, as Spanko's going to end up on the kill feed first, and with all of that happening, in the end, Hephaestus actually takes a really clean fight.
Very clean fight. They expended quite a few ultimates there, Rally, Grav, and both support ultimates thrown in the mix there, but that was a commanding win, and this is where they need to start to solidify their defense. They still have to hold for 3 minutes, given how quickly they were rolled through Streets phase. So Predators Esports, they're going to have both the Grab and the Earthshatter online. One of them will likely find Pater.
Yeah, the payload not able to get past the corner and onto what I call the runway. It's just the straightaway to victory. Sam's going to need a really good drag strike to knock people off, because Shockwave is going to have that grab. So how are they going to do this? Graviton coming from Hephaestus is going to come out first. Great sound barrier, giving everyone a little bit more love. And in the end, Predators Esports is going to get the couple kills they need, and they're going to be able to keep the Dragon Strike, because Sam only needs Stormbow, balance move, to get the win.
4 Stormbow kills, man, and that is good bang for your buck. Must have picked up that weapon at Walmart, because he actually even saved that Dragon Strike into the spawn here. Gonna pick up Hex to have that Transcendence. Hephaestus needed that ultimate to try and hold this defense.
Oh, Dragon Strike coming out of Hephaestus as well, not going to be as good. Those spawn kills are going to hurt. So they're going to be down 3 people here on the point. Transcendence is already gone for Hephaestus. Hex is going to be taken down. And right here on the point is just going to be, you know, your classic pretty much 2 CP stall here, where it's just spawns coming in for the defense. But the time to kill has been fast. They're actually going to give Hephaestus a chance to come back. Let's see if the self-destruct is going to be able to do anything. No, but it does. It pushes them off the payload and gives them the last point there.
What? Kejadinja was hiding behind that pillar? Mercy. No, it just must have caught her elbow or something.
Or
just
something.
That feel, man, where you're like, I'm behind the pole.
I'm good, guys.
I got it.
You know, everyone's like, relax. You're like, I got this. I'm a good player. I don't even need to tell you. But...
Unlucky.
Yeah,
no, we're gonna say
900
IQ Diva Bomb placement.
Yep.
There we go. It was the angle just at the
the
very front.
Curve.
The front of the payload, get it just so you know.
Yeah, exactly. Poke
Pro Diva strats right here, guys.
So Hephaestus is going to need 3 points to tie this up. A minute 37 seconds left in the time bank for Predators Esports. It's pretty good. You know, could be higher, could be worse. But here in the end, they definitely don't want to get swept here. So Hephaestus already taken the series 3-0, but Predators looking good. Hephaestus looked great on the last round, and Predators looking just as good here on Route 66.
Yeah, Predators pride, the only thing on the line here, but that is still important. There is a lot of this tournament still left to be played. You don't want to go down with a goose egg to your name. So they will be bringing out that Orisa defense once again. But this time around, no Junkrat to be seen. Shockwave going to stick with the Widowmaker, playing a little bit streaky, but he's definitely found his footing on Route 66. Going to be a threat to be reckoned with. Especially because HM is actually going to be on this Widowmaker as well. We saw him swap onto the Hanzo previously, and that seemed like a slightly better fit for him, potentially just at the moment, because this head-to-head 1v1, Sam, there's not going to be any head-to-head if it falls off because I have so much vertigo from your swapping. Good. Sam's mouse works. That's always great when you're playing Overwatch. So Hephaestus looks like they will be coming out of spawn with this Genji Widow dive.
And so Sam gonna need to continue that momentum from the end of their attacking phase as he was able to do some work on that Hanzo. And Hephaestus has got to be thinking about that. Svenko, though, gonna be rocking Genji. I'm really excited to see that. And someone who has been really underestimated here has been Drusker on those off tanks so far. And let's see what Hex is gonna say. They say he's the shot caller. Let's see what he's gonna do. How are they gonna handle this big Earl's Orisa defense, the sentinel that Orisa can be? Are they just going to be able to go through? Is the positioning going to be good? And it looks like they're able to get past the initial sign for big Earls and maybe even get around this bend. Predators, you got to make a decision on what you want to do right now, or else you're just going to lose all of that momentum. And Sam's going to take it into his own hands and into HM's head and get the kill there, but Svenko's going to get the revenge kill. So this is a 5v5 on the point. No longer with the res. It is a 6v5, and Hephaestus has the numbers. Sam's going to have to walk back from spawn. Are they going to be able to take advantage of this? And yes, they are. Yax does a great dive into the backline, which separates people out and gives HM the line of sight he needs to get these kills on to the scoreboard.
Yeah, we saw that Sam actually got the mid-air drop onto HM, but him falling off of the high ground and in front of the payload meant that there was no way for Unreal the Mercy to drop down onto the ground and get a safe res on, so that immediately put Predators on the back foot in terms of man advantage. Sam, though, does get the kill onto Svenko. Always going to be a feels good, though that likely won't stop up this payload at all here. What may do it, though, is all of these ultimates online, Unreal with that Valkyrie in hand. Definitely going to be something to pop when Kasia Dinya does to try and tempo the fight, as all of the ultimates just going to fly from Predators.
And the Dragon Strike's not going to get anybody using the infrared to try to pick someone off, but the Dragon Blade's going to pick Sam off instead, and Drusker is going to get the kill on the Self-Destruct. I love the combo because the Dragon Blade and the Self-Destruct causes chaos, and it gives people an opportunity to get those kills.
Yep, it's like dropping a rock into an anthill. All the ants scatter, and then the bomb picks them up right afterwards. A somewhat unutilized boop will call the look you're giving me right now 100% confidence.
Yeah, that was an amazing metaphor.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, but yeah, very good synergy from this Hephaestus DPS off-tank line right now. Mikla, though, will have his own bomb in hand. Apollo also ready with that Transcendence.
The Transcendence is going to make things a lot harder for Hephaestus because there's no ultimates to even get through that. This is basically all on Svenko and HM to get the picks that they need, and that's not going to happen when you're dead. But this is a 4v4, no mercies available, but Rampant 3v3 now, but Hephaestus in the end is going to get the numbers. Are they going to be able to finish it off? No, because this is a 2v2. This is as back and forth as it can get. Self-destruct, though, being thrown out. Going to get a kill on Drusker, so the Divas are both going to come down. Mikla not able to get back into the mech thanks to some tickles from that electricity, but in the end, Hephaestus is going to get the stall and the reset. Maybe not, because the fight is still going on here, and the Shockwave is going to get the headshot on HM. Is this the end? Yes, it is.
Ooh, Hephaestus playing like a hydraulic press there, trying to increase the unmitigated pressure on Predators, but in the end, the Primal Rage was what saved that point for the defense. Rampant Rhino able to buy enough time for Unreal to get back in, start pocketing that main tank, and that is what gave him the edge over Yax, who wisely decides, hey, it's okay. We still have 2 minutes, 50 seconds, which Hephaestus is going to be hoping will be plenty to get some more distance on this payload, especially with Svenko's blade at the ready. However, Hex falls down very early. Definitely going to be a resible position, but no,
Very nice. Keijadina is just outside of the wall getting headshot, but gonna get revenge through Svenko's blade. It was a little bit forced. Whenever you see that happen, it's not a good thing. You know, you get the unsheathed blade, 1 kill and dead. It's going to give the advantage for Predators Esports here onto the point. We're seeing that right now as Hephaestus is being pushed back to their spot.
Yep, the ultimate economy going to be evened up at this point a little bit because Hephaestus feeding slightly. Now we are going to see some hero swaps here. Might as well throw out those ultimates, as it will now be HM actually picking up the younger Shimato Svenko going on the Hanzo. It's a me, a Hanzo. Sometimes you just need those hero swaps to loosen things up, but that will reset their ultimates here. Predators themselves have 4 online.
Well, Svenko did just use Blade, so they were going to be reset anyway. And Shockwave, once again, showing that this is going to be his best round thus far. A lot of good game tape to see out of this one for Predators. Oh, I thought that was the Mercy for a second based on the timing of that skull. Sam, though, is he going to be able to convert on this kill on Hex? Yes, he is. And the kill on Drusker. Sam showing that Hanzo is one of his best characters.
Absolutely. Sam really coming into his own here. Rampant Rhino as well, stepping it up. We can see him making intelligent dives, putting pressure on the supports, enabling his DPS to get that damage in while everybody else is otherwise occupied. And now he may well be looking to sow discord with his Primal Rage.
Oh, vision on everyone coming in on the attacking side is going to give them an advantage here for this fight. They know exactly how to throw this away. Transcendence, though, going to keep Hephaestus alive for the time being. Apollo has Transcendence as well. Let's see if they're going to be able to convert on these kills. And yes, Sam's going to get the first kill onto Hex. This is a big opening for Predators and could spell the end of Route 66 for Hephaestus. And Shockwave is going to be doing the same thing to HM. This is bad for Hephaestus thus far because 2 are down. This now 63 on to the point, and this is looking good for Predators. Are they going to be able to convert? Yes, because Drusker is going to throw himself off to the side. With 30 seconds left, it will be an opportunity for Hephaestus to come back and convert on the point.
30 seconds left here, but they are down time. They're down ultimates. The closest one is going to be Svenko with this Dragon Blade, but Sam is even closer, and Predators have that Transcendence to boot. This is going to be an extremely difficult battle for Hephaestus if they can even touch here as the tanks make their way onto the payload.
They will be able to touch, but the Dragon Strike is actually going to give them a little bit of room for the payload. But Mikla with those kills and Shockwave once again coming in clutch are going to make things hard for Hephaestus. This is a desperation attempt at this point, and Predators Esports going to come out on top 3-1 on a Route 66 scoreboard. The total score is 3-1 in favor of Hephaestus for the series.
Yeah, Hephaestus may have taken that series, but Predators showing that they are at the top of the food chain when it comes to Route 66, making their mark known with a good finish here. So we watch Sam just ding, ding, ding. The palm strike to finish off too. That's just, whoop-ha!
Hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
Right? That's the dream right there. It didn't have to use the ultimate. It was able to use it in spawn coming up, which helped them get that 3rd point on Route 66. Yeah. So that was like a really good series of Sam, even for the next 30 seconds.
Absolutely. I think Predators also, just really coalesced around him, which I think was something that was missing earlier. Identify, your carry player, give him the resources. We saw how difficult it was for the tanks to wear down that Hanzo. He was getting all of the pocketing, all of the peel, all of the healing, and that may well be the way for Predators Esports moving forward.
Yeah, great stuff from both teams. This felt kind of like a 5-game series. It felt tense. It felt, oh man, that was just so much fun. And thank you guys for allowing us to bring you the first English broadcast for South American Contenders. It was a true honor, and the games were great. And I know other people who are hyped about this, and that is Mushu on the desk. Take it away, guys.
Well, at least for Predators, they are able to get back 1 game, but they do lose a series to Hephaestus, unfortunately for them. So let's go ahead and rewind it back, because there were some really great bright spots for Predators, but it didn't look so bright in Anubis, despite it being out in the sun and in the desert. So let's go back to that. Lemon, I want to go to you, because there is one person that we did bring up there that was brought up throughout the cast and throughout, just like us on the analyst desk. Hexed. We got to talk about Hexed in this Zenyatta. I'm just going to leave the floor open to you. What do you want to talk about Hex? Because there's so much you could talk about for this.
He was just
player.
he's just so entertaining to watch, like in general. And even on King's Row, I noticed like he's bringing out the Moira and was a huge saving grace for them. And that was kind of like my question mark for them, is that he didn't go Mercy on King's Row to help us fair. He rocks on that Moira. But when we're talking about Temple of Anubis, he popped off on Zenyatta. And I want to talk about the way he positions himself. He like purposely kind of goes by himself when he has Transcendence to kind of bait the blade. I think it was from Sam or
Yeah, it should have been from Sam, I believe.
yeah, so he baits the blade towards himself because he looks out of position, but just kidding, he has a Transcendence, and then he'll pop the Transcendence to nullify that blade almost every single time. And not only is his use of Transcendence always safe for the blade and always at a critical moment to turn the fight or to turn the balance of resources in his team's favor, but when we talk about Point B, he's also a very damage focused Zenyatta, like a young Jonak. I saw at one point on Point B where he killed both supports of the other team. So he's just crazy. You saw him on fire. I know the POV doesn't always go to Zenyatta's, but he was definitely just not only harassing the Pharah, but actually clicking heads onto the supports.
Not only supports too, but Scribe, I know you're spying him also, even taking out the Pharah. I think that's something also to point out too. I mean, how does he fit in here? I mean, I know we just compared him to Jonak, but really, if we're going to explain, like, what exactly does that mean when you have a Zenyatta or a player who can flex around like this? How are you seeing Hephaestus be able to play around this in a way that this seems like one of their advantages? Like, is he a cornerstone of their team in his playstyle and his flexibility?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that he's one of the big crucial elements to how, I guess, the side of Hephaestus has really been able to use their aggression to the highest. I think one is more so about, you got to look at like Rampant Rhino and how uncomfortable he kind of looked on Temple of Anubis. Having a really strong Zenyatta on the other side makes that even worse. Not only are you no longer getting like Pharah control or air dominance whatsoever, you also have to deal with two very, very niche characters, Mei and Doomfist, which are pulled out to specifically, deny engages, try to get that one-shot potential, use walls to really, mix up the playing field so that you're dividing up teams very accurately. That makes like anyone's life extremely difficult. And on top of that, Zen with very good, Discord orbs, being able to win effectively a lot of 1v1 fights and allowing himself to save those transcendences, it makes it so hard to break through that defense.
And especially with how much Pharah is going to be played in this map pool. I mean, we're talking about, we got Rialto, we have Eichenwald also, and of course Temple of Anubis and the other. I think Volskaya is also in this map pool as well for contenders. So I mean, all those maps on attack or defense, like, it is reasonable. You can run Pharah. So not being forced to go into to take a hit scan, being able to have your DPS flex on to projectile and be comfortable about that. And I mean, there's just so much confidence there from Hex. So really cool to see. I know we don't always get to highlight support players, so of course when we can, we will go a little bit out of our way to do so. But then, okay, so let's get over to the bright spot of for Predator was in Route 66. And where was this Predator leading up to this point? Scribe, actually, let's mix it up a bit. Let's go to you first. For this double sniper composition, they just seem like a whole different team. I mean, what was going on here that made them they took the series pretty convincingly?
Yeah,
this game.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they finally found what they really needed to. Having that double, yeah, I think having the double sniper there really made things a lot more comfortable, because when you play double sniper against a single sniper, and Svenko kind of didn't seem super reluctant, and it didn't look like Hephaestus was comfortable running a double sniper composition. When you only have to worry about one other sniper threat, it's very easy to start utilizing your advantages. They could rotate off the shockwave to really look for widow picks. Sam was kind of free reign, and because of that, he was able to target the enemy tanks a lot more. This made it such that Hex, was finding himself in the center of the crosshair and the reticles for a lot of both snipers. It made sure that Rampant Rhino had his ability to jump into the backline and really activate himself from there. Yax and Drusker were very, very limited in what they could do. All they could do was jump onto a target, and if the Widowmaker saves the repel, gets out there super easily.
And I mean, they're so creative too, and how they ran that double sniper composition. You just talked about how they were able to take out, put the enemy team in a position where they didn't want to be. Well, Lemon, do you want to elaborate on that? I don't know if you kind of saw anything they're doing, particularly with this double sniper, especially on escort maps. Were they doing anything that was kind of out of the ordinary, or was it kind of run of the mill and kind of textbook double sniper as far as escort goes?
It's their positioning, I think, that stuck out to me. The way that they set up perpendicularly to the front line of the other team, and how Sam was just feeding into, almost baiting their own tanks and just feeding into the other team. And I think we talked about that was their strongest showing throughout this series, was this particular composition. And Sam really stood out to me. I know we talked a lot about, I think it was Shockwave throughout his Junkrat and his Pharahs, but here it was Sam that stood out to me. And not only the way he was setting up his positioning wise, and we know how strong Hanzo is, so having a capable Hanzo is very important here, but the way he put his dragon strikes to trap the enemy team in a certain spot, like he would put it into the hotel near point B on Route 66, and always had good placements, and I felt like he was earning them really fast. So huge bright spot there was Sam on that Hanzo, and how the other team dealt with it, they didn't really know how.
They even tried to switch going into the last point too,
Right.
and see, and it still didn't work. So, Scribe, I want to go to you on this too, because I'm still kind of scratching my head on this, because we saw the tank line be a really strong part of what Hephaestus was able to lean on, but their dive looked like I don't know, just got shredded. They jump into the air, they'd go through the cheese shredder a little bit, and then they'd end up on the high ground, and they would get there, maybe get the landing damage, but then just be instantly blown up. What was going on with this dive? And why didn't it work against a double sniper?
Yeah, it really comes down to the Widow mind games here. Widow v Widow is super impactful. If you talk to any player, especially any DPS player, they'll tell you exactly how intricate the matchup is. But that's kind of really what is the crux of a lot of these dive compositions. The first Widow to get the win on the matchup automatically opens himself up to be able to do a lot of damage to a lot of tank front lines. And that was kind of the big issue here. No matter how Hephaestus was able to set up, they never quite got that first pick that was absolutely necessary. The moment that they would walk out into the open, they would immediately get picked because, first of all, as a single Widow, worrying about both Hanzo and Widowmaker on the other side is very, very difficult to do. But more importantly, once that Widow goes down and you're running a Genji in your other slot, not a lot of protection here. You're kind of just running right into the meat grinder there. You're trying to execute as much as you can, but without that backline support, if both DPS players, both Hanzo and Widowmaker, are able to focus down targets, they will melt them incredibly quickly. And that's kind of where they didn't really have the ability to adapt. That's a very much a skill-intensive matchup. And if you can't win it, there's really not that much you can do.
And so, of course, Hephaestus Esports able to come away with the win. But Predator, they have something to work with, and super exciting to see for them. This, again, is their first game of the Contenders season, Group B, all of their games. This is the first time we're seeing them today, but that will be the end of our first match. We're going to be moving on to our next and final series. Will be Pain Gaming versus Black Dragon. So I'll be hopping on the cast and desk with Lemon. So we'll be doing a little swap around. Boop will be hosting, and then Ham will be joining Scribe on the analyst desk too. But before we throw to a quick break, we will be just doing a little plug for what channel are you guys on right now, and what are we all about? Of course, this is Broadcast.gg. We are a community of esports broadcasters, just getting better by sharing our methodologies and best practices and doing events like this too. So you can learn and you can grow, and we'll all climb together, cover some Overwatch as well as other esports too. So if you like what you're watching, definitely hit that follow button up above. If you want to join the Discord, join in the discussion to see what goes on behind the scenes and know how to recreate this whole production here and the tools that we have. Look down below. We got a panel down there with a link to the Discord. And so we're going to throw it to a break when we get the next match set up again, Pain Gaming versus Black Dragons. And we'll see you on the other side.